Now, before I get to the heart of this technological advancement that I've been talking about and that I will talk about, I also wanted to bring up one other point. Some users got rather pissed off at me that I talked about the China case that happened at the exact same time, well, not the exact same time, but the exact same day as the Sandy Hook shooting, citing mainly that he had failed to kill these kids. That may be true, but that doesn't mean that this couldn't lead. If we took away the guns, but we didn't take away the reasons why the people like the Sandy Hook shooter pick up a weapon in the first place and try to hurt mass people, then we're just trading one demon for another. Although some would say a better demon, because at least with a knife you're less likely to be able to get through as many people as a semi-automatic weapon. And I agree. But that doesn't mean that mass killings cannot happen with other weapons. And to sit there and act like, oh, it's the guns. The guns throughout history, the guns have always been the problem. It's the guns. It's the guns. I disagree. And need I remind you guys that the Aurora shooting proved that this guy, not only did he wire his apartment up with bombs, he had bombs in his car. Had he chosen to do so, he could have blown up that theater, or he could have blown his way into the theater and then shot up the place, and there would have been even more carnage. This talk that, oh, bombs, bombs, who does bombs anyways? Well, we're seeing that people have the ability to purchase enough items to do so. This is one of many reasons why I say you guys are not serious about true harm prevention. You're looking at this as only one thing, that you dislike guns, whether on a moral standpoint, whether on on a creeped out standpoint, whether it's on an actual basis of harm versus benefit sort of thing, and all these are valid arguments. Ones for which, to be honest with you, I have no major addressment to, because there's nothing that can really be said about that. As I've said, nobody absolutely 110% needs guns. But I'm not going to slap the face of all of my friends who I know who responsibly own guns and who have never shot anybody or hurt anybody with their gun, or even themselves accidentally with a gun, and say, oh, I disagree with your responsible ownership. I'm going to treat you like a criminal, and I'm going to take away your toys because I don't like your toys. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I want to reiterate an article here that came to my attention after the Aurora incident, of all things. Going postal pre-pistol. How did mass murderers operate before the advent of modern weapons? The shooting spree that killed 12 people in Aurora, Colorado movie theater on Friday has sparked a public debate about the ability of automatic guns, which went away and is now back, and thankfully I hope is not going to just go away. Gun control advocates argue that mass murder is exceedingly difficult without them. One source told the Washington Post, "It's kind of hard to be a pseudo-commando with a musket in the 18th century. So how did people commit mass murder before the advent of automatic weapons? Well, seeing as how I have a time limit here, my 10-minute time limit, I'm going to summarize the type of weapons and probably the body counts that came about. You can read the article for yourself, though. Veteran Bernett Davenport is widely considered the first mass murderer in history. In 1780, he burst into the bedroom of his employer, and he bludgeoned Mallory and his wife with a club. When the club broke in two, Davenport beat the couple to death with Mallory's gun, which again kind of goes against, oh, if I have a gun for protection, I'm automatically protected. Yeah, no, that doesn't always work. If Davenport had stopped there, he would be remembered as just an ordinary killer. He killed at least 3 more people within a single incident. After beating the Mallorys to death, however, Davenport burned the house down, killing their 3 grandchildren. So we've got fire and we've got a club, or you could even say blunt objects. Hundreds of mass murderers have perpetrated their crimes without automatic firearms. Frenchman Pierre Riviere, killed his mother, sister, and brother with a bill hook in 1835. So that's a bill hook. In 1932, Juan Marcello, a Filipino immigrant in relatively small stature, managed to kill 6 people and wound 15 in a Seattle street using a pair of blades. In 1950, Monroe Phillips shot 7 dead and wounded 32 with a shotgun. So I think in a way that's kind of cheating that they're using shotguns, since I'm trying to talk about non-weapons, but still a pair of blades. Guns aren't even the most lethal mass murder weapon. According to data compiled by Grant Duval at the Minnesota Department of Corrections, guns kill an average of 4.92 victims per mass murder in the United States during the 20th century, just edging out knives, blunt objects, bare hands. Again, your hands can kill, and not just in pulling triggers, which killed 4.52 people per incident. Fire killed 6.82 per mass murder, while explosives far outpaced the other options at 20.82. So again, you can't take bombs off the table and just say it's guns. Guns are evil. Guns are the worst thing. If we take away the guns, we'll limit the body counts. If we take away the guns, we'll this, we'll that. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, but it does not quite work that way. We need to stop people from wanting to kill en masse in the cases where we can help, i.e., matters where it's not a compulsivity issue or a anti-personality disorder and so on and so forth. And this again talks about the social dialogue. When I've posted articles about the talk for possibly screening children's brains and doing interventions in these children's lives, which I said, as long as you don't segregate the kids who will be future violent offenders, and you treat everybody all the same, I have no problem with this. This is what should be. This is what can be. And this would stop a lot of people in a lot more cases and be much more effective, I think, than simply just taking away everybody's guns. But bombs, again, bombs, explosives, improvised explosives, car bombs, you name it. These are killing more people than guns per mass murder. And yet I'm supposed to believe that guns are a huge part of the problem? I'm sorry, but this does not work that way. But, as I said, I'm all for taking assault rifles off the market. I'm all for limiting clip sizes. Though, with my next video, which will be getting to said technology that I wanted to talk about in this video, but ran out of time, and again, I'm keeping you guys, my audience, in consideration with this talk. You can't simply declare that it's only guns and only assault rifles and just walk away from that topic. It does not work this way. Now, granted, again, though, in Denmark, in all these places, when you took away the guns, it's not exactly as if a lot of these violent criminals went into bombs. But again, this goes into the differences in their systems. When the people are taken care of, when the people are happy, when they have equality, when they have affordable health care, universal health care, when they have affordable mental health care, you have far less people who want to just kill people. Now, that doesn't trump genetics and environment. And I'm not talking about violent video games as environment. I'm talking about how we create the very monsters that we hate. And no, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. In 9 out of 10 cases. Google it. I know I've talked about the University of Google, but in this case, you can find very credible pages of biographies of serial killers. They didn't, 9 out of 10 of them didn't just wake up and decide, oh, gee, I wonder what human flesh tastes like. There's usually an environment. There's usually a catalyst along with genetics that tends to become an issue that affects us all or could affect us all. And some of these people, Dahmer didn't generally use a gun. That's not to say he hadn't at some points, but he did some very terrible things. Sans gun. Gacy didn't generally use a gun. He used subversion. He used a lot of things. And these are things that need to be addressed. These are things that can kill without a gun. This is why I say this topic matters. This is why I say that we can't just offhandedly dismiss the idea that guns are the only way people can mass murder. But again, the difference, the reason why we have a living example of a gunless society like Denmark, but no increase in bomb activity or things of this nature to our knowledge, and I'm willing to buy that, is they have crafted their society. They said enough is enough, and they took the necessary steps to fix the issues. In other words, they are mopping the floor with us because they are willing to do what we are not willing to do. And we consider ourselves number one, USA, USA. How? How does that work? It doesn't. But how does that work in your mind? How do you reconcile this? Anyways, links down to the relevant information is down in the underbar.